everybody? It's Chris and Kate here with Profoto. This is Geared Up, our weekly live broadcast where we talk about gear, we talk about techniques, we go through different lighting scenarios, we have a good time, talk about photography, and kick it with you guys. Today we're sitting in front of the backdrop, which means we probably pre-recorded something, which we did. So today we're actually talking about if it's possible to take hard light and mix it with your natural ambient light to get a more natural light looking photograph. I think the easiest thing and the most obvious thing whenever you see someone using hard light is it's very obvious, it's very in your face, which is a really cool look. I use it all the time, especially in studio against a white backdrop, you know, a B10 with a Magnum reflector just like cranking against a white backdrop. It's just this stark, beautiful light. But there's some scenarios that can arise where you may have to utilize a hard reflector. Maybe you're in and you'll see in the video, we're up against some pretty heavy winds, and you may find yourself in a predicament where you have more wind or something going on in the scene, and maybe you don't have sandbags, or maybe you don't have someone who can help you hold the light and you don't want it to go down. You can easily use this technique with, you know, a small modifier like the OCF zoom is what we wind up using in this video, or you go bare head. The flat front lights are actually quite beautiful with nothing on the front of them whatsoever. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to roll a video. I'm going to be here looking at the comments. We'll come back. We'll look at the final image. We can even pull up a couple other images if you'd like to see them, and yeah, just kind of talk through it, answer any questions that you might have. So without further ado, here's a video.
Here we go.
Cool. What's up, party people? It's me, Chris. Profoto. We're outside. Kate, also with me, as usual, outside. Today, we're talking about how to make a natural light looking shot, a shot that doesn't look overly flashy, but in a situation like we're having today, where we are in a high wind situation. So this is going to be something good to know for, you know, if you're a photographer who just has your first light, you don't have a modifier, or if you're a bonehead like me and gotten your modifier at your studio before you've gone to a shoot.
It happens.
Or yeah, it totally happens. I've done it on a very big shoot. Or if you find yourself on a day like today where the wind is super high, and even though I would love to use a softbox, and maybe you don't want to lug a lot of sandbags, or maybe you don't have an assistant to hold the light stand for you, and you're worried about the light going over, we're going to find out whether or not you can take a hard light with or without a modifier. Today we're going to be using the OCF zoom, and we're going to see if you can indeed make a natural looking shot with hard light, as opposed to having to use a soft light to make it look more natural. So spoiler alert, the answer is yes. I'm just going to show you how you do it. So if we dive into the biggest thing that dictates whether a light feels natural or whether it feels flashed is going to be contrast. So if you are, you know, really pushing down the scene, you know, crushing the ambient light, making it look really, really dark, and then you're bringing in a bright flash, that's a dead giveaway that you're using a flash in a shot, and that's what looks flashy. A lot of people don't like the idea of a flashy shot. All flashy really means is you don't like a photo with a ton of contrast in it between the background and the subject that's being lit. So what we're going to do is show you how to walk that line. Like I said, if you're in a situation where you need to use, you know, maybe your light without a modifier, or if you need to go with a hard light modifier like the zoom here to give yourself the best possible result, maybe your style is that ambient light or that natural looking light. So we're going to show you how to do that with hard light as opposed to normally doing this with a soft light. So the first thing that we're going to want to do, and the cool thing about cameras these days, even some of the DSLRs right before mirrorless started getting really, really big, you could actually go in and look at your preview before you even took a photo. So like the LCD screen on the back, I know I had a D800 at one point in time, and I found out that I think if you pressed the info button while you're in live view mode, it would give you the display. So again, a lot of even the DSLR cameras can do this stuff. So, but the beautiful thing about mirrorless cameras is almost all of them have a live preview of what the shot's going to look like before you even take it. So what we're going to do is we're going to, with our remote off, we're going to decide our camera settings. So for this shot, we have these beautiful flowers, these beautiful azaleas here. We have Kate in a beautiful pink dress, something to match along with it. So we're looking for something soft and really, really pretty. So that leads me to shooting wide open on this shot. So we're gonna be at f2, which is weird because all the time you watch me do these lives, you hear me shooting f8 or f11 to overpower my studio lights. Today we're f2, super wide open on my GFX, taking some really nice airy shots. So we're gonna be at f2. My ISO is all the way down at 100. I just like to shoot there. I don't have to, but that's where I like to be. As you can tell, it's very windy. So again, and look, as you see, we're all assembled. We're all assembled. Cool. We'll cut to that camera in case your skirt flew up. That'd be great. Yeah. But it's insanely windy. But as you can see, our light without a modifier on it did just fine. So what we're going to do, again, camera settings wise, f2. I'm going to try to block the wind a little bit, see if I can help you guys out. So camera settings are f2, ISO is 100, and those are the two settings we're going to pick right off the jump. From here, the shutter speed is going to be dictated by what the overall ambient light looks like. So if I, based off of kind of how I like to shoot and what I think this scene needs, I think it probably needs to be at a shutter speed of 200, maybe. Yeah, I think 200 is probably, and I'll show you kind of the difference here in just a moment. Let's see. So 160 is probably going to give us something like this. Here we go, Kate. Let's just have you hang tight. We'll bring my gobo in just a second, but let's see. There we go. 3, 2, 1. So that shot right there is going to be your ISO 160. Or not ISO 160, I'm sorry, your shutter speed of 160. So the next one where I think we're going to need to live is at a shutter speed of 200. And so right here, so the shot is a nice natural looking shot. Here you go, Kate. 3, 2, 1. So even just this by itself is a beautiful natural light looking shot. I'm going to want to add a little bit of flash into that to just make it pop a little bit, just to kind of make my image a little more interesting than natural light alone. But if I start pushing that shutter speed too hard, here's 3/20 of a second, what's going to happen is we're going to start pushing down that back ambient so much. So here we go, 3, 2, 1. So that's 3/20th of a second. So what we're going to actually start doing there is we're going to start pushing down that ambient light so hard that the flash is going to become a lot more present in the shot, and that's going to start looking flashy. And that's not what we want for this shot. So again, 200 is where I want to live for this shot. I'll take one more just so you can see it. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful stuff. So again, it's a nice natural light looking shot, and what we're going to do now is turn the flash on and see how that looks. So my camera's maximum sync speed, at least on my GFX, is 125th of a second. So we're above that now at 200. So I'm going to need to be in high speed sync mode. So I'm just going to go into my remote. Since I'm a Fuji user, I can change this either in the camera or in the remote. If you're a Canon, Nikon, Sony user, or I'm not sure about the Leica, but I think the Leica does it as well, you can just ramp your shutter speed up and it changes. My Fuji doesn't do that, so I have to set that myself. So we're set there, and we're going, power level for me is right now a 5. And we're going to kind of walk around in that ballpark. I took a TTL shot earlier to kind of, again, get in the ballpark, and I've been finessing it back and forth, but the light is changing. We are outside, so we're going to see how this goes. So I'm going to take this shot first. So we go 3, 2, 1. So there. It's a really nice looking shot. Again, it doesn't overpower anything, so it's just kind of augmenting the light that's already there. Now the one thing that's going to happen is you are going to start introducing some shadows. That's just hard light makes the shadows a little more apparent. But because we're keeping that contrast low, we're keeping the shutter speed at a point where it could feel like a natural light shot, but we're just augmenting a little bit more. The shadows aren't super dark. So it's not going to feel overly flashy, but the flash is going to give this nice little subtle snap to the image that's really, really beautiful. So honestly, power level of 5 there, I'm very happy with. So what we're going to do just for fun is add a little gobo. So I have this little azalea right here that all we're going to do with this is we're going to kind of float it in front of the lens of the camera, just so it has like this cool like pink hue, like you're shooting, well, I mean we'll be shooting through something, but it gives like this really cool pink hue, just to add a little something extra, a little softness, a little more softness to the image. So here we go. So there we go. 3, 2, 1. Cool. Earlier you did this cool thing where you had a hair flip. Yeah, I think that looks really lovely. So again, this is a really easy technique to do. Again, it's just walking that line between ambient light and flash, and you don't want them to be too far apart from one another, and it's going to give you a beautiful natural shot. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Give me a little chin to shoulder. And then maybe lean in a little bit more. Perfect. Again, this is a really easy technique to achieve. Again, we're simply just walking the line between shutter speed, which is going to control our ambient, and our flash power. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. That looks lovely. I'm going to kick this camera up a hair more so we're not cropping the hair. There we go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Could you go chin down a little bit, Caitlin? There we go. Oh, I got a blinker. One more. 3, 2, 1. Look, there we go. Close the shoulder off a little bit more. There we go. And kind of lean your body. No, not towards me. Lean your body towards. There we go. There we go. There we go. 3, 2, 1. And as that's a beautiful shot. So, and as the light's going to change, we may have to again walk the line between our flash exposure. The cool thing is with the Connect Pro, you can see what your flash power is on the back of the light without even moving, and we can kind of ride that up and down depending on what it is that we need. But again, the images are quite beautiful, and we'll go through them again here whenever I jump back into the studio. But again, super easy technique, just as a recap so you understand what we're doing. So we come out, we decide kind of what we want as far as our aperture, how blurry we want the background. Then we need to pick an ISO, whatever ISO you want, whatever you're happy with. If you're trying to keep your flash power lower, you could always bump your ISO up, but I chose ISO 100. So I'm at f2 because I wanted the softness of the wide open lens. I'm at ISO 100 just because that's a personal preference. And then from there, we use the preview display in our mirrorless cameras. And again, some DSLR cameras can do it, so just look up your preview. See if you have a preview image display on your LCD. And we just used our shutter speed and that preview image to adjust the ambient light the way that we want it. So we decided that 1/200th of a second was a good option between proper exposure and just a hair under. That's kind of where you want to be, is you just want to be a little bit under a proper exposure for the shot. And then we took our flash, before we even went live with everything, I took a quick TTL shot and then I flipped over to manual mode and locked that power setting into place. And then I kind of just played back and forth with the light until it was giving me the right amount of augmentation on the flash that I was looking for. I'm super happy with it. Again, like I said earlier, spoiler alert, you can 100% make a natural light or a natural looking shot with a flash, with a hard light modifier, or with no modifier if you're just going bare head with the strobe itself. You just have to kind of understand. One other thing I didn't mention, we've talked about this before in blending your flash with ambient lives before, light placement. The light is off to the same side that the sun is coming from, because I want that light to feel like it's wrapping. If it was to be coming from this direction, we would be cross-lighting Kate, and that would give away immediately that. You know what we'll do real fast? I'm going to flip the light over here so you can see that and see how cross-lighting is going to change the look completely. So we're good here. Let's make sure we're pointed at Kate. Okay. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Cool. So the upside is it's still subtle, but just knowing seeing how the light is hitting the flowers in the background, seeing how the light's hitting the flowers in the background and how it's coming over. There's a little spot of light on her hand right here in the background. It's a cross light, so it's going to start feeling a little bit more flashed, again, because the light's coming from two different directions. It's still not bad, and if you walk that line, again, between your ambient light and your flash exposure, you can make it work, but coming from the same side as the sun generally tends to yield more consistent results, so that's just what I like to do. But again, even a cross light shot is quite beautiful. But I don't know if you can see right now in the image, like as the wind is moving the tree limbs, what's happening is sometimes the sun is showing up on Kate's cheek and sometimes it's kind of going away. Like there it is over her shoulder right now. So that's going to be one of those things that kind of gives away that it's a cross light. So we're just going to move it back over, same side as the sunshine, and that's going to give us the most natural looking results. So I like, again, I like trying to kind of stay off to the side, maybe more of a loop light style setup, just because it's going to still feel like it's coming from that direction.
The light to be aimed towards?
Do I have it, is it going past you? It's just past you. We in business there?
We're good.
Cool. Let's take another couple more shots and then we are out of here. We'll go back to the studio. So again, back from the same direction that the sun is. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Chin down just a little bit. Give me a little bit more of a lean that way. There we go. Three, 2, 1. Beautiful. Chin down just a hair. Lovely. And again, great stuff. I just want to look right here real fast. So here, I would say that we're probably starting to get to the point where the contrast is getting a little too much, and it's starting to feel a little flashy. It's not bad, but it's starting to feel a little bit like that. So again, we could just slow that shutter speed down a hair to 160. We can open it back up. Throw in the gobo. 3, 2, 1. And there, we're starting to feel a little bit more natural with it. Beautiful. And that's it, easy peasy. So we're gonna go back to the studio, we'll talk about the images. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section and we'll talk about it. So that's it. Oh, there we go.
We are.
It's back. So again, it's a pretty simple technique. It's really just about making sure you're keeping your ambient light at a nice enough level to where you're not going to be really driving the flash forward, that ambient light is up and there's a lot of fill light coming from your surrounding areas. Again, light placement, at least to me, I think it's super important to be coming from the same side as the sun. Another thing that I didn't mention in the video that I wanted to talk about, something else that helps in this technique, is if you can also have your subject's nose going towards the light. That helps out a lot. Or if you're going to have their nose go away, try doing more of a heavy broad light on it, and that's going to help as well. The thing that you're going to have to be weary of, and that you always have to pay attention to whenever you're using hard light, is that you have to pay attention to the shadows. So like real fast, let's throw up the main image. So you can look, this is an edited image. I'm not going to tell you that I didn't edit the photo and do some retouching on it. But what I wanted to keep in the photo was I'm going to come right here so you can kind of see what I'm pointing at. So if you look at her nose right there, so if you kind of look at the nose area, if you look on the opposite side of the light, there is a shadow right here, or right. I can't do it. It's in reverse. This mirror mode doesn't work for me. So it's in reverse right there. I left that shadow in there so you could see that the shadow is fine. As long as you're keeping that contrast level, low, the shadow doesn't bother. And then because her nose is pointed towards the flash itself, you're getting more coverage on the face and you're getting less shadow. So it's mitigating that a lot. So that's something that will help out a whole bunch with the shadows as well, because a hard light is going to produce shadows. It's what it does. So again, light from the same side as the subject, try to have their nose pointed towards that light source if you can, or if you're going to have it away, kind of make sure you're shooting broad light style. But what can happen, at least here you can see it on me with this light, if my camera will just take the image down. Let's go up here. We'll come check your comments here. We're just going to take this back for a second. So this thing focus. But one of the things that you have to be wary of too, so like you can see I have kind of some deeper lines right here just because, getting old. So, but what happens if you start broadlining it too much and the light gets too hard, you can actually start to introduce light here as well. That's why kind of the nose back towards the light works a little bit better. So something to keep in mind. But again, maintain that ambient ratio to light ratio, keep it up. And then when you flash light in there, you just want to kiss the light in. It doesn't need to be like this big thump. We were using a B10, so not even, or we were using a B10X, not even a plus, just the 250 watt version. And we were down at 1/32 of a power, and I was in high speed sync. So we were pretty low power, which means if you're in a scenario where you need to take 1,000 shots, I know someone said something about using it in a wedding scenario, which we'll talk about here in a second. So in a scenario where you're taking thousands and thousands and thousands of shots, keeping the power low is going to give you tons of battery life. So this technique is going to help you with battery life and just being able to get a really natural looking image. And someone was wondering if there's a way to do this fast at a wedding setting. I think it's incredibly easy. So in the video that I do, I try to slow it down a whole bunch so we can really talk through it. You can understand the concept behind it. But in a run and gun situation, you could be looking through the eye. Like I say, I'm guessing you have a mirrorless camera. I feel like most people have mirrorless cameras at this point. You could be running your eyepiece and you could be riding your shutter speed and just playing with that ambient light. And if you have like a second shooter who can hold the light, the cool thing about things like the A2, even could you take the B10 down off the thing for me for a second? The cool thing about some of these smaller lights, even the B10 is really not that big of a flash. You could have an assistant just sitting there kind of pointing it right where you need it. So, and it's not too terribly heavy. A2 is even better for it. So it's something that you can easily do at a wedding. I think you have to play with it. And I would say practice the technique before you just go into a wedding situation doing it, but it's really not that difficult. And again, because you can see stuff through the eyepiece of your camera now, it should be totally doable.
Someone was asking about your lens that you were using on your camera.
Yeah, so someone was asking what lens I was using on my GFX. It's the GFX 110 f2. I think equivalent to an 85 millimeter, roughly that on a full frame camera. So yeah, I was at f2. I do like that someone said old, laugh out loud. Sometimes I feel it. My beard is starting to say otherwise.
It's not because of me.
Yeah,
okay?
not at all.
I haven't
my beard's starting to say otherwise. So we'll see what happens there. Let's go back up there. I know I did some replies in video, but some people were asking just gear wise because it's fun to chat about it. So I was asking me what kind of tripod was I using. It is a Feisel tripod. It is the CT 3442, and then the head that I use, the Arca Swiss P0. I like it a lot. The cool thing about this head is you can kind of release the tension just a little bit on it, and you can move it around with, see, I don't even have it set the way that I want yet, but you can just kind of move it around and it'll still, there we go. But you can just take it and you can kind of move it and it holds tension on the camera. I really like this ball head. So CT 3442 Feisel tripod, Arca Swiss P0 ball head. It's a great little tripod. Super light too. The carbon fiber is nice. And then someone was also asking the original Magnum versus the OCF Magnum. So the original style Magnum reflector and zoom reflector, though they will work on the flat front lights, they were made for protruded or exposed dome flash heads. So they're more efficient with those. You can use them, but you're not going to get quite the beam spread. The facets inside of the OCF zooms, like these square facets, and the OCF Magnum, they were made to gather all of the flat front lights. So they're the maximum efficiency you can get out of the OCF stuff. So you're a user of the flat front lights, I would go with the OCF stuff. They're metal. They're not the plastic like some of the other modifiers that they're trying to keep the weight down. These can actually handle. You could throw these on a D2, so they can handle the heat from that modeling light on a D2. So they're real good. The only thing that I wish we had, and maybe we'll do it in the future, I wish we had some grids we could put on the front of it. But other than that, you can still zoom it and change the beam angle.
Did we take an image without the gobo in it?
Did we take an image without the gobo in it?
I think so. But
I think so. I think so. We'd have to pull it. I mean, it's on my laptop back behind me. Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, you know what? As a matter of fact, let's do this really fast because I can pull this up really quick. When we were taking the images of when you saw just the background,
yeah,
they don't have the gobo. So here, let's add this one in and I'll show you real fast. So someone wanted to see the image, no gobo. So when we were, when I was setting the light and showing you, oh, you know, but we didn't flash it, I don't think.
The next one's flashed.
The next one is flashed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I will pull this up for you to see. Okay, yeah, there's one flashed right there. Yep. Cool. So here comes an image with the flash in it, sans gobo. So, and let's bounce between both so you can see. So this image right here is when we were doing the demonstration showing you like finding that shutter speed that's going to kind of get us close, keep the ambient at a nice level. That was this. And then when we added in the flash, you can see that how the skin starts to pop a little bit more, and you can tell that the flash is there. I'm pointing at it with my mouse pointer, realizing that you can't see my mouse pointer. If you look at the nose, you can see the loop right here where that flash is coming across. So, but that's the image before I threw the gobo back in there. That's what it looks like without it. So again, it's still really, really even. The contrast in that shadow, which is kind of more like a loop light style light, is really low. So it's not super obvious. It's something that if you didn't like in the image, you could easily get rid of it. But again, if the situation arises where your option is to be able to light it or not be able to light it, but it's windy or something like that, like knowing this technique, you can get, I think the shadow looks nice. And even, like I said, with the final image that I wound up after, my edit and stuff like that, I left that shadow in there because I don't think it's distracting. I think it's a really nice shot. It's a Rembrandt style. It's got that nice triangle under the eye. It's really pretty. It's a really cool thing. Let's see. Does anybody else have any questions? How much would here it goes. Yes. How much would there be a difference if you use the OCF Magnum? So the upside of going the OCF Magnum route is I probably would have been able to turn the power of the flash down another stop. So that would have brought me down to 4. So again, if you're in a situation where you need to maximize how much battery life you're getting out of your flash, the upside for me is I had an extra battery with me and I knew we were filming for 15 to 30 minutes. Come on back. Come on back. There we go. I knew we were filming for about 15 to 30 minutes. So I knew I'd have plenty of stuff to do what we were doing. But yeah, the Magnum would get you more, would get you a lower power setting doing the exact same thing. So that's what the Magnum would do for you.
Let's see for color.
That's super nice. Kate doesn't age. She ages me. Let's see. Let's see. So someone asked, what light am I using? So again, this is just the B10X. It's a great little flash if you've never played with it. But again, it's the size. If you have a 24-70 lens, that's what it was designed to be the size of. So it's about the size of a 24-70 lens. You can break it down, drop it into a lens pouch inside of your bag, and it can be right there next to all your camera stuff. So it's great. And then I just had it paired. I could have went with the Magnum. I feel like I don't give this thing enough love for how good it is and how small it is. So if you wouldn't mind, Caitlin, I'm sorry. Could you grab me the OCF Magnum? I just want you to be able to see the size difference between the two modifiers. The beauty in this is you're still gaining light output, so it can get up to 1.2 stops more out. Whereas with the OCF Magnum, you're getting 2 stops more out. But size-wise,
they're still the small.
Yeah, they're still the small. But I mean, even if I kind of put it on the same level, like that's a pretty small light modifier to give you more output. And what's cool about this too is you can kind of throw it on the light. You could kind of put your light into it like that for travel, just to make the space even smaller if you needed to. Especially like the B10X Plus, where you can kind of slot it down in there and actually clamp it into place. So it's again, I just feel like I don't give it enough love for how compact and powerful it is. So that's why we went OCF
You just
today.
answered that one.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
So someone also just asked about the flash head. So I think I said it in the video also, but if I didn't, I apologize.
Okay.
Let's see. Someone was saying they think I should use some compensating gels. I probably could have gelled it to mess with it. The upside, daytime wise for us, the upside is we're in daylight saving time. So I think we shot this at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So normally like 3. So the sun was still relatively high. It hadn't started warming too much. But yeah, I could have easily gelled it to clean it some more.
Kay's question: what does the color temperature between the
flashes
and the ambient light?
Let's see what Kay said. What should I do if the color temperature between the flash and ambient light doesn't match? Yeah, then you should 100% gel it. The cool thing is you can do it a couple of different ways. You could go old school and you could tape a gel over the front of it, or you could do the OCF gel kit from behind. I don't like that option as much because you lose the ability to zoom the reflector on the flash head, and maybe you want a tighter angle, maybe you want a wider one. So I would just honestly go with the old school, take a sheet of gel, gaff tape it over the top and just flop it. But yeah, if you're in a situation where the sun is much lower in the sky, then yeah, you're going to want to gel it. You want it to match, or else you can fix it in post, but do you want to? So it's for the price of a gel, it's worth it. Yeah.
Does the B1X AC power adapter?
So someone's asking if the B1X has AC power adapter. It doesn't. It was always designed to be a wireless light. The change in the B10 came from, after a few years of we experimented with an AC adapter for it. It didn't perform the way that we would like it to perform. It actually slowed the light down way past what we would have liked it to, just because it was designed to always be wireless. So no, there's no AC plug for it. The upside for the B10 stuff is people were asking for a way to shoot and charge at the same time, and the B10s you can do it, but the B1 is initially developed in 2013. So I mean it's a little long in the tooth. Let's see what else we have.
If you have any more questions.
Oh, someone. Sorry. I do appreciate that. Someone was asking. I'll let the powers that be know. But yeah, if you are looking at one-on-one stuff, the training stuff with Profoto, Anders is fantastic. He knows a ton of stuff, but you can always hit me up. We can figure it out. We can see if there's something that we can do.
Absolutely.
Just shoot me a DM. And then I think, are we good? I apologize. My system doesn't translate your some of your comments.
Yeah.
But if I missed your comment, reach out to me DM wise, and I'll go Google translate it up, and we can chat it up. I apologize that I can't translate from my system. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. I think we got everything.
Pop back up to the top real quick, just in case. If you have anything, pop it in.
Let's see. We got the make and model of the tripod. Yep. Perfect. Thank you all so much. Again, a super easy technique. Just a quick rundown, so you can have like a checklist of things to think about if you want to write this down. Pick your f-stop and your ISO based off of what you want. That's a creative selection that you get to make. So decide if you want it more blurry, less blurry, more stuff in focus. Decide that first. Make that decision creatively for what you want to do. Again, for this shot, I went f2 because I wanted it to feel softer. I wanted that shallow depth of field. So we went f2. We went ISO of 100 just because I'm a stickler for it. I like it to stay low. But you can, if you need to maintain some more battery power, so like if you want to bring the flash power down some, bump that ISO some. Cameras are clean these days. So again, your f-stop and your ISO creative decisions, make those first. Use your shutter speed to make your ambient light look the way that you want it to look. And you can do that with your live preview. Light placement, I prefer putting the light towards the same side that the sun is coming from. It's going to feel like it's wrapping more than cross lighting. And then from there, you just want to just kiss the flash into the scene, have it balance out nicely, and you're good to go.
You translated.
Oh, someone translated for me.
Sorry.
Oh, what can you tell about the Magnum reflector for the ProPhoto A2? Thank you so much for the translation. I'm glad we were able to talk about it. So actually, funny enough, I have a Magnum reflector and an A2 right here. So here's the A2 with the Magnum reflector. So if I'm not mistaken, I get the numbers a little off. So we'll be ballparking it. But A2 with no flash head or with no head on it or no reflector on it gives you about a 66-degree beam spread. This gives you about a 37-degree beam spread. And then if you need it tighter, this will take it down. The grid, which comes with it, the grid will take it down to 20 degrees. So you have a lot of variation there. This will give you up to 1.8 stops more light output. So almost taking this light from 100 watt seconds to almost 400. So again, if you're in a situation where you needed a running gun, this is like, the B10's not bad. This is better. And then what's also really cool too is with the Click soft boxes, the OCF, no, I'm sorry, not the Click OCFs, the Click soft boxes. Again, you could throw one on the front of this thing and you could run around with a nice soft light. You could have your camera in one hand like this. If you had to be real scrappy, you could do, camera, flash. I do it all the time. Yeah. I think it yields great results and the nice thing about doing this is you can kind of like, you're like, oh, I want a butterfly light shot. Oh, I want, a loop light shot. Let me get a little more Rembrandt. So you have the ability to kind of just get a lot of looks really fast this way. So that's what the Magnum's going to get you.
Would you ever consider ambient with hard light? Which light or would you?
Let's see. Pop that bad boy up there.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider lighting up the ambient with hard light? If so, which light modifier would you prefer? So lighting the ambient with hard light, I would say if you're going to do it, like if you're, here's the question, Josh Jones, thanks for your question. Here's the follow-up question. Are you talking about lighting the whole scene ambient wise? Are you outside or are you inside? So if you're inside, I would 100% take a hard light and bounce it into a big ceiling or something like that. I mean, sometimes even without the reflector, one of my favorite things to do here in the studio is I'll put the Pro head on a light stand and point it straight up with nothing on it, and I'll just put a flag just to block my subject so they don't get hit with it, and I'll shoot the bare head into the ceiling, around the walls, everywhere, and just light the whole room up and bring the whole room's ambient up. So 100% I would do it with a hard light. You want to, if you're going to do two lights at a subject, both hard light, make sure one of them is bigger than the other one, or keep the ratio between the two relatively similar, again, because that way you're not getting insane shadows. And I would try to keep the lights relatively on. The thing that you're going to be battling is no shadows. You just are. So if you could use that hard light to light up the room, then yes. Outside, it's going to be harder to light the scene with one hard light. So that's why I'm guessing you're asking inside based. But yeah, it'd be harder to light hard light outside, but inside 100% I would do it with hard light.
What light stands do we use outside?
So it's the Manfrotto's here. I'll show you the BTS image of it. It's the Manfrotto 1004 BAC. People ask about it enough that I actually remember the model light or the name of it. Here, let me get rid of the chat thing. So it's the BAC. It's the stackable Manfrottos. They're air cushioned. I love them. They're really, really good. Oh, I think let's see. Cool. Let's get out of this. It's like a lot of clicking around things. So let's see. Make sure.
It's my job.
Oh yeah.
My job to do.
So someone says another question I have. Oh, right here. Yep. What's up? Let's see. Another question I have: the adapter to use the OCF gear with the A2. Is there anything that does the opposite, e.g., use the B1X with the new Click Octa? So the tough thing with the OC, so like, hand me that B10 behind you again. So the tough thing about Kate, put it on the stand, take it off the stand. The tough thing is just going to be the diameter of the thing. You're not of the light modifier. You're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to get as much light through it. So I don't know that it makes a ton of sense. So like if you look at the front of your B10 right here, and I put this on there, first and foremost, you're kind of only seeing, I mean, you can kind of see the flash tube in there. So that might actually not be, no, actually that's not the flash tube that you see. That's actually the little, the area where the modeling lights sit. So the flash tube is kind of just barely touching that. So I don't even know that you would get the maximum coverage that you want. So I can't imagine that you would see something like that. The upside is we just came out with the new soft boxes that fold open and close down, and they're made for the B10, stuff like that. They're pretty robust. So let's see.
Usable shoot group.
And you said going from 100 millimeter to 70. I didn't even finish reading the comment, and now I feel like a dum-dum for even pointing that out. So so appreciate it. Cool. Let's see. Just want to make sure we haven't missed it. Is the OCF Zoom or OCF Magnum usable when shooting group photos? Absolutely. The thing that I would do if you're one lighting a group photo, a large group, the main rule, back the light up. And if you're going to wind up backing the light up to get more even coverage, the Zoom is good because you're going to get 1.2 stops more out. The Magnum's nice. So the Zoom's good because you'll get more output and you can zoom it a little bit wider. The Magnum's nice because you can get up to 2 stops more output. So if you needed to back it up even further, you can get better coverage. But yeah, you could do it with one light and a hard reflector. Go dead center is what I would do. Like dead center, shoot right up underneath it and back it up as far as you can to get an even exposure all the way across. But yeah, you 100% can.
I think that's it. I don't think we missed anybody.
I don't think we did. Let's see. The new softboxes. Oh, here we go. The new softboxes are brilliant. Compliments to the chef on those. I can finally delegate, set up, pack. Oh my gosh, the new softboxes are great. It took me a long time to come up with them. You know, I sew them by hand in my basement. It's more of a passion project, honestly. But no, they're great. They were a long time coming. And I'm really excited about what they are and what they can be, especially with a lot of the new with the new diffusers and stuff like that we're playing with. So yeah, they're great soft boxes. So you're good. I think we're good.
Yep.
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. This has been super fun. As the weather's getting nicer, we're going to be outside a whole lot more. Yes. I think we got some more cool stuff that we want to do. We're gonna tackle some other subjects as well. Some things that we haven't done in the past, which I think will be really, really cool.
And if you have any ideas,
exactly.
Please.
So if you have any suggestions of things that you want to see, things that you might be having an issue lighting or interested in lighting, let us know. We get to play with this stuff and we can do it together.
It's fun for us.
Yeah. So and it helps out a ton, and it helps other people who might have the same question who are afraid to ask. So more dogs. Yeah, we could do that. Speaking of, we might have made a dog mistake last week, so we'll see what happens.
3 dogs.
But with that being said, have an awesome rest of your week, and hit us up if you have any questions. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.